in playoff. They have been in 3 playoff finals. The very first time they got
always a 3-0.
Yeah, it's always a 3-0. The very first time they got 3-0'd by Team Liquid in the fastest LCS final ever.
Yep.
Then the second time they 3-0'd Team Liquid in the fastest LCS final ever. Updated. Fastest finals ever to Electric Boogaloo. Yeah. And now the third time, they went up against EG and they got 3-0'd. So they really, like, it's all one way.
It's
when
going to be
100 Thieves
fast.
make it to the final.
One way or the other.
But this time around, we'll see how fast it goes. It's Sivir first for FlyQuest. Yuumi makes it through the bans. So they're immediately going to lock that for 100 Thieves, as well as the Trundle for closing.
That's a Zeri, you have to think, right? That's got to be Zeri Yuumi coming through. It is going to be, you know, Sivir plus Enchanter on the other side. LeBlanc mid here for toucouille. So very interesting, just kind of slamming that down. And I think it makes sense because, you know, as soon as the Yuumi's coming through, almost guaranteed they're going Zeri. So we can't actually counterpick you on 3 unless he wants to give up the Zeri and he'll get
which they will not do.
Exactly. So I think it's pretty smart. You're like, well, picking blind here, kind of risky. But in this case, you know what their third pick is already going to be. Then you can ban out some of the picks that you don't actually want to lane against here for toucouille. Some of the answers potentially that could come from Abbeddage, like maybe he's worried about the Lissandra. We've seen that a couple times already from Abbeddage. So I wouldn't be shocked to see that Lissandra getting banned out, but maybe he's just down to fight it all.
Well, we've got the Lee Sin and Vi. So there has been a lot of Vi play from a lot of junglers
and some of
in Champions Queue.
And it was in LEC today as well. There was like a Darius Vi game, I believe, an upset.
Yeah, Vi's been getting played a lot in Champions Queue. Pantheon Jungle has also been a lot in Champions Queue. So Lee Sin also just banned away from JoseDeodo as a comfort pick. And FlyQuest bans, despite the fact of what we're talking about here with the LeBlanc matchup, they're looking at top lane instead. They're targeting Ssumday to kind of protect Philip here a little bit with Fiora and Ornn banned out. Azir, one of those really popular mid laners, despite mid not being picked until 4, 100 Thieves still has lots of good choices.
Yeah, it's very interesting. The double top lane ban here, because Ssumday can pick on 5. Right? So it's kind of like, who cares? Unless you feel like Ssumday is going to be limited in his champion pool, which I don't really feel like is the case. Ssumday has played a lot of different stuff here. Like, Gnar and Ornn are his most played, but he has Gwen, Fiora, Akali, Gragas, Gangplank, Sylas. So don't really feel like they're going to get a tremendous amount of value out of those top lane bans. But maybe they can prove me wrong. We're going to see what Philip is locking in here.
So Ornn, Fiora, and Gwen, of those are all gone. The Gnar is still available. Like, he could get his most played champion if Philip doesn't take it here.
Maybe it's just Philip taking Gnar. And then it would be interesting to see if Ssumday is willing to do what he did to, I think it was Hoon, where he did the Sylas counterpick and solo killed him 3 times. This would be pretty standard. So Sejuani blind makes sense if you are playing in that side of the matchup. I know from talking to some top laners, they really don't love playing Sejuani into the Ornn, and then Fiora is kind of seen as one of those counters, their answers. Exactly. It's very, very easy to respond with the riposte to the Sejuani Q and the ulti. And then the true damage is obviously very, very threatening. But we may just end up having Gnar versus Sejuani, so pretty standard stuff across the board. You know, I think it was Jat was talking about how like 100 Thieves have just been kind of going with comfort, and that's one of the big reasons he thinks that they have really been kind of stepping up. And it looks like we may be getting that once again here. 5th pick Gnar, not exactly anything to write home about, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And the big thing I'm worried about here for FlyQuest, this is a 1-tank composition versus Trundle. This is Trundle's favorite type of team comp to be against, excuse me. The target that you're supposed to ult is just Trundle. Circled in a big red marker. Please ult me every single fight.
Yeah, I mean, the Sejuani passive as well, if you actually alter before that cracks, and then it cracks, Sejuani can go to like nothing, right? Like you just get destroyed by that. It's also really their only engage. So I am kind of concerned because if I'm Huhi, I Mikhail's rush this game, and I don't know what else you care about.
Yeah.
Like, Sejuani is your only real engage, so I think it's problematic here. Unless toucouille just like absolutely 0 engage against Zeri, like you are asking to lose, right? Like
you're gonna be in a highlight reel, just not yours.
Yeah. Unless LeBlanc is monster fed. Like if toucouille can just go off and absolutely stomp the game and be really, really fed and just like one-shot FBI, sure, great.
QWR, he dies.
Yeah, if you can do that, then you're not worried about it. But otherwise, like they have no lockdown for this Zeri, and Zeri has cleanse. And there's only one form of CC that you really care about. It's the Sejuani ult. So Yeah, I think it could be a tough one here, but it's going to be interesting to see. Huhi with the heal start there, just looking to actually get in, get a Spell Thieves proc.
Well, FlyQuest are 7 and 8 currently into standings. This is a team that I've felt like very hot and cold about throughout the course of the split, to be quite honest. Like sometimes they have these games where they look really, really good, and you're like, damn, FlyQuest is a contender. And then other times they have these games that they're like, what?
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell what you're gonna get. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this on the dive this week. Mark and Kobe are definitely in the FlyQuest kind of fan camp as well. You know, they do think that they are kind of on that tier where they can compete with the other playoff teams. I feel like I haven't seen the level of consistency to really kind of believe. You know, I kind of see them in like a tier of their own at 6. Like they're definitely better than like the 7-8 crowd.
Right.
But they don't feel like they've shown enough to make me believe that they could really compete at the top, you know, against those top 5 teams in playoffs.
Well, I mean, a big part of that too, like you're talking about consistency. Playoffs being a best of 5 compared to regular season being a best of 1, you can't just have the one game of brilliance, right? Like you've got to string together the 3 wins. So that's where I really want to see FlyQuest stop having sort of these weird moments, bizarre drafts, like strange plays. You got to string together 3 out of 5. Junglers are going to start on the bottom side of the map, both together here this time. You can see that there is a ward from FlyQuest on the red buff with 100 Thieves, so they know that Closer is starting on his own blue. And now they're not going to get any cross-map Viego pathing. Generally, you don't like to invade Trundle early on because he's an incredible duelist against practically every champion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Chomp is an auto-attack reset, it's bonus damage, and it takes away AD, right? So it's really, really hard to actually win out in those scraps, especially in those early stages. So definitely not going to be looking to invade him. But you can kind of just clear faster than him in a lot of cases. Trundle really sucks on the AoE camps. Like, really, really sucks. So you aren't going to have that fast clear. You know, generally, these are the kind of paths that Trundle will go for. He just goes full bot side into red because it is those last 2 camps that he really does struggle on.
I mean, Trundle's one of those champions, the only ability in his kit is auto-attack.
Yeah.
Chomp is an auto-attack. W is better auto-attack.
Faster. E is slow them down so you can auto-attack.
Yeah, E gives you a stinky pillar to hold him in place so you can auto-attack him more. Red saps their defense so you can auto-attack. Like, he's kind of got one trick that he does. So beating all those chickens over the head takes
so the auto-attacks can hurt.
Yeah, he's got a big old stick. He's following the Teddy Roosevelt school of thought. As we've got JoseDeodo. I see my brain's still lagging from each game throughout today. I think the Skarner took up too much of my brain cells. But we do have JoseDeodo walking that Viego down into the bottom side river. So he'll be able to at least grab that crab. Topside Scuttle is still up, but Closer will be close for this one.
He actually went way around. So to actually circumvent this ward, he saw that ward go down. He walked all the way up like this, down around to the crab.
Yeah.
So I think that the read from FlyQuest would actually be that he was going down towards bottom side to contest that crab, which is why Jose went down there. So he does have to do kind of an awkward path to avoid the vision, but it means they haven't had eyes on him for a while. Now he can head back up here towards Krugs.
And I really like this a lot, considering he's already cleared through most of his jungle, because you're going to have to wait for camp respawns anyway. So if it takes you 10 extra seconds to walk there through a roundabout path, but those 10 seconds are going to be spent waiting for the bottom side camps to respawn initially, who cares, right? Just good use of your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of playing around the vision and obviously, you know, valuing the denial of information more highly than efficiency, right? And that's something that everyone has to kind of make their own judgment call on.
That's one of the fun parts about jungle pathing, right?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And that's why, even at the pro level, when you listen to junglers talk about pathing, even multiple really top-tier pro junglers can all completely disagree on what the right decision trees are. Yep. That's what I think really makes it interesting and complex. You can have so many different styles and schools of thought. Both these mid laners getting quite low. This is one of the things I actually really like about the kind of pro-focused changes is the reduction in how powerful sustain is, right? Potions, corrupting potion, everything is weaker. So these people can't just heal back to full instantly. You are going to be stuck at lower health, which means there is higher risk if you do stay around. But both mid laners playing TP, so just likely to go back to base here and refill.
I think that's one thing that at least a lot of people that I've talked to like more of in League of Legends is consequences in lane, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to, you remember back to you and I were actually having a conversation about this, I think the other day when we went on the hike, about the 13 red potions, health potion start for Katarina and Mordekaiser that was around for a little bit that people were playing, and it's like, man, this sucks. It's not fun to play against. You feel like you can never make any real progress, and you're just not interacting with your lane opponent at that point.
And sometimes there's just champions that don't even need health potions, like Release Set.
Oh, yeah.
His passive was just, you always have health potion running and can't lose health.
You just sit in lane. Who cares if they hit me? I'm going to farm. Leave me alone. Yeah, being able to have more consequential trades, being able to feel like, yeah, I played the lane better, and now I get to have an advantage because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just makes for way more exciting games, especially for spectating as well, because people have to either, really take that L. If you take a bad trade, go back to base early, lose farm, lose experience, or you have to stay around and really risk it. And Philip now, being annoying, he TP'd back early, so he's trying to pull the wave here, interrupts the recall from Ssumday to try to make him base and then TP back. Closer is in the area, so Ssumday's going to feel, I think, pretty comfortable to just kind of scrap with him and push this up. But Jose getting prio on the scuttle. Notice how he goes to the top side and actually escorts it back towards his mid lane, knowing that closer was from the top side. So that's a minor thing, but it's something you should always do. Is the side that you hit the scuttle from, it's going to run away from you. So you can kind of choose which way it actually goes, and you want to try to escort it towards your strong lane.
Yeah, and considering Jose had the level advantage, closer only just now hitting 5, was level 4, and he had LeBlanc too. And that's the thing that I always remember about LeBlanc, is she's so good at these 2v2 scrimmages.
What do you think about this? Swifty boots Trundle, first buy here. So really prioritizing the move speed. He is down a bit on farm, because he kind of took that bit of an awkward path, but this is interesting. I mean, there are a lot of slows on the other team and not a lot of hard CC.
Yeah.
So I think it is a nod to the fact that it's like, hey, my survivability is just going to be moving in and out of the fights. I think his read is that I don't have to do any damage. I have Zeri, Azir, and Gnar. So I think he's just going to go Swifty Boots into tank.
Yeah. toucouille, good damage onto Aphromoo there. And that's what I was mentioning about these skirmishes, right? Anything around mid lane, whenever the enemy is LeBlanc, you're probably going to get bursted down faster than they are. Absolutely.
toucouille, again, going in for a little trade there. And now, the nerf to healing means he has to go back to base a little bit earlier. It means he will have to give up this whole wave, because as the cooldowns come back up, you die to toucouille there if you stay. So that is plus 6 CS, kind of off that wave that will be denied. He's up plus 5 overall.
Feels good.
But pretty nicely done. And yeah, I'm going to be interested to see how Closer actually does end up playing this out. I think a lot of times when you're playing Trundle into these types of compositions, your damage doesn't really even matter. You kind of just ult someone in pillar on cooldown, and that's about it.
Yep.
So Swifty Boots, I think if that's his read on how the game is going to play out, makes some sense. But
chomp Viego whenever he goes in, tap his attack damage, make it harder for him to contribute to the fight.
Hit the person in the front, but you're not running at Sivir or LeBlanc, right? And it is going to be Bomby here, so it's going to be the tank build. And yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense, if you're going to go this style of build, to really prioritize the move speed here.
And also considering what we were talking about, you subjugate Sejuani when the Frost Armor is already up. You're going to get a huge amount of resists on top of a pure tank build to begin with, and it creates this meatball that LeBlanc has no ability to really threaten.
Yeah.
You don't have Viego really being able to threaten it. You can just start stacking some armor for Viego and Sivir. You're feeling great.
And across the board, it's been, this focus on move speed, this focus on tier 2 boots, 400 Thieves. It's Merctread's first item for Ssumday, Swifty's first buy for Closer, Zerkari's first buy for FBI. Jose has this very low, is going to secure it. 100 Thieves looking like they want to take a fight, though.
FlyQuest have grabbed the eye. JoseDeodo is back in the pit. toucouille stepping away from that mega Gnar boulder.
They have pings on him, but he has the rift, so he's going to actually get out of there with the enhanced recall.
Yeah, he can get out in time. Nicely done. Good stuff from FlyQuest. They managed to get in and exfiltrate the hot zone in time, saving Private JoseDeodo.
Choppa.
Yeah, exactly. They got him out of there. That's so good for them now. They have this Herald in their pocket. They're going to have full time of turret plates being up to use it. We'll see what kind of value.
And Johnsun was bot, right? FBI actually did move up, so farm down on that bot side going to be evening out a little bit. We'll see how much they can actually get from this Herald. Very passive early game here. Felt like last week you guys had a lot of pop-off games with the changes.
Yeah, we got some.
There's a lot of bloody games. And this week, people slowing down a little bit more. Maybe having a better read on how to actually play out the lane, so they aren't in as many dangerous situations now. Players kind of adjusting over time.
Can also be a higher pressure situation with this being the last week of regular play, right?
It's not just any week.
Yeah,
it's a super week.
Super week. Final super week. They know that after this, they're going to postseason, or for some squads, they're not going anywhere, right? And that's not where you want to be. There's only 2 slots that you're not going to postseason in. Neither one of these teams really in threat for that. But jockeying for position, getting the opportunity to pick your opponent or getting a bye through one of the rounds can go a long way.
Absolutely. I mean, the seeding is so important for playoffs. Being able to set yourself up for success. FlyQuest, they already took the Herald. They are now here onto this Dragon. Takes a long time to take down. Does do a lot of damage here as well. So Jose has those pots chugging. 100 Thieves, though, trying to make their way in here. Azir paired up with the Yuumi, but Closer's not in the area, so they are just going to give it up because Zeri is pushed into the tower. FlyQuest has push. It looked like a little bit of a risky take, but the fact that Philip had actually moved down, somebody has no TP, means they have the extra man, so 100 Thieves can't really challenge for it. They are going to get plates on top side as their trade-off. But overall, Freak was saying, he had the Dragons pegged as like around 1,000 gold worth of stats now.
Okay.
So they are quite valuable. When you are adding that in, they're a lot more powerful individually. So it is a pretty significant reward that he has that. Plus, he still has the Herald to drop, and they are at a very slight gold lead already.
I mean, when you think back to old school League of Legends, probably before a lot of people that play today were even playing, when the Dragons were worth gold, right? It was worth what? Initially, I think 250 per player, and it went down to 150 over time. But still, that's around that area, right? In terms of the actual stat value that you're getting. So Abbedage and Closer, they're just going to clear out these waves here. toucouille continuing. I really want to see this guy find angles, find opportunities to roam on the LeBlanc. LeBlanc staying in mid lane, trading wave for wave with her opponent is not her ideal situation.
Absolutely. And he has been trading very aggressively with Abbedage, so I will give him credit for that. But Abbedage's job is just push the wave, right? Like, no matter what toucouille does, they're going to look for an all-in here. Johnsun in trouble.
Johnsun trying to get away as the Yuumi ulti flies through, but with JoseDeodo showing up, FBI just skates right on back over the wall.
Yeah, it does cost him the cleanse. Does not have to flash. That was the ulti down from Jose. They got the ult, the ghost as well, and the ignite. So they are positive on the trade. And I think they might have had Johnsun if Jose wasn't in the area. So well done to him. But he's got to get that Herald down fast. That thing is going to expire.
Yeah, they really need to be using this one soon. Abbedage and Closer skirmishing with them here a little bit as Closer flashes back away.
He was very worried about what toucouille could actually do to him there. Flashing away very, very early after he stepped forward. I guess he is pretty squishy at this point in the game, but I mean, Herald's about to expire. He has to just go straight bot and drop it.
See, there it is. Okay, yeah, coming up. They ran out of time, right? Yep. It gets to that spot where it's just either use it or lose it. But toucouille and Jose are coming around. They want to see if they can get something done here. Closer and Abbedage hanging around nearby to prevent the dive. JoseDeodo.
He's no ult.
Duck on the wrong side of the wall. Yep, has to flash away.
Yep, nicely done to actually at least force out that cost. They knew he had used the ult earlier. They were tracking that obviously onto FBI, so going to be able to get that flash back now. Both junglers are down a flash. They at least get the crash, so they get 2 plates there. Some of that gold going in onto Johnsun, who is up a couple hundred gold, so not bad whatsoever. But my concerns remain for how the comp will function later on if FlyQuest cannot create a really big advantage. And I just think it's so much pressure on toucouille to be this playmaker, to really kind of have FlyQuest controlling vision and having this kind of darkness where LeBlanc can dart out from and really chunk people out. Because if you can't do that, a full-on engage, I think, is very, very unlikely to work against 100 Thieves.
I mean, LeBlanc's ideal game state for the fights, right, is you don't see her until she has distorted out of fog and already begun to deal damage.
Yep, exactly. And that's what it's going to take a lot of setup from the entirety of the team, right? It's not just a LeBlanc job. But you can see they're on 4 sweepers, going to be swapping over to that. It's sweeper in top lane, sweeper in support, and mid jungle. So oftentimes when you are playing around these types of champs, you'll have more of that. You will swap more heavily over towards sweeper. You can see it's actually still the warding totem for both Abbedage and Ssumday. So 4-2, they're going to look to deny vision. They're going to look to play around fog. So recognizing that they are pretty light on engage and they have to create these pockets of vision, the 100 Thieves are just scared to walk into.
Exactly. They have to be afraid of the LeBlanc. If they see her walking around with the other 4 champions, posturing around an objective, the fear is completely gone. The unknown is not there, and it's very easy to play around it and just say, okay, FBI, don't walk into LeBlanc distorting twice or something like that. Speaking of FBI, Immortal Shield Bow is done, so he will be harder to assassinate quickly. Has the Berserker Greaves for that level 2 move speed. You can see everybody's kind of hitting those first item spikes. I would call it mythic, but they are not all mythic, as Frozen Heart was the first item for Philip up there in the top side on the Sejuani. Divine Sunderer nearly done for the Gnar.
I like Frozen Heart as the rush here. I know you could just go mythic. I think it's stronger for the 1v1, but it feels like he's just prioritizing CDR, right? Like he is there engaged. So I think it makes a lot of sense to just have all of that CDR on the item, be able to have the ultimates up more often because he is there engaged, so he's got to have that ready. Jose, again, looking to start this up. They bring up the 5th member. Again, you know, they're really prioritizing this. You can see Abbeddage is still bot, and you see toucouille here cheating up towards mid. So they have mid push, they have the extra man. toucouille now will go down towards bot to try to catch that wave, but moving up their extra member here gets them another objective. There's 3 straight neutral objectives that they have grabbed by moving their members around the map, clearly prioritizing the taking of these. And what does he lose? Like, he probably lost, I think, a melee there, maybe 2. So not much of a cost whatsoever because he didn't overcommit and just stay the whole time.
Ooh, nice stun from Jose, but there's no follow-up. At least he hit it. I always like to just see a little bit of a...
Yeah, very excited. Like, ooh.
Yeah, ooh, he hit that one. Yeah, that was tricky.
Wow.
It's Zeri with the Yumi on her. It's hard to hit her with stuff, so... Inconsequential. At the end of the day, it's immediately healed right off.
Your happiness is never inconsequential, Flowers.
See, get you a friend like Azael. People always talk about getting somebody that likes you as much as I like Skarner, but get you a buddy like Azael, man. That's how you know you're living a good life. We got this Dragon. He's up and running, though. FlyQuest got the first one. Like you said, they are on a roll with neutral objectives. They're up to an over 1,000 gold lead here, 16 minutes.
Cruising.
No kills on the board. If you're just looking for PvP, this early game's been a bit of a sleeper, but FlyQuest are happy enough with the lead that they've got. They just need to keep building like you're talking about. As the game gets later, the execution is going to get tougher.
Absolutely, and I think that is why 100 Thieves haven't really felt a lot of pressure to be able to get things done. I will say, though, you know, for how good they have looked over the last couple of weeks, this is not the most, like, you know, really impressive performance that we could have seen from them. I think they have been getting a lot more aggressive. We heard the devs talking about how they are making more early game plays. They've been going back to some of their early tower dives and things. Ssumday going to be pushed back here. Unlikely to go down, but will be forced back. And off the resets, there was vision of that, so that one little ward over the wall, it's kind of overlapping with another, but this little ward caught some recalls, and that actually prompted 100 Thieves to just start up the dragon right away, so they will even out that dragon. It's going to be Mountain Soul, which is going to be a pretty powerful one, honestly, for both sides, but really devastating for LeBlanc, because with the individual buffs, the flat MR that is going to be on everyone is so tough for Assassins to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, that is removing your flat pen from LeBlanc, which she is super reliant on, and now Philip going to be in trouble. He's on the wrong side of the map.
Yeah, Closer's coming up too, and he throws out the pillar, but it doesn't hit him in time. It doesn't disrupt it. Philip's able to get away.
I thought he got him, but he didn't have the right read. Not quite poking him, just slowing him. Got him right in the butt. Knock him up.
Summon it up in time. Ssumday also with the Trinity Force as opposed to the Sunderer that I called out incorrectly earlier. This is the more damage-favored option, right? Like, this is the one that's going to let you be able to blow people up if you get a good flank in a team fight. It's not going to have quite the level of tank busting or sustain as the Sunderer does, so not quite as strong in the 1v1 side lane against a Sejuani, but this is just telling me, hey, Ssumday's ready to rotate. He doesn't want to just play split the whole time.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it is higher DPS, so, you know, you still can work out in a long extended fight in that 1v1. You know, and, you know, not as powerful in those really quick trades, perhaps, where you can proc and get that bonus damage, but definitely going to be a strong one. You know, getting even more attack speed here, so I'm going to be interested to see where he takes the build, if he's actually just going to go, like, Wit's End or whatever and go more for that side lane play. It is double AP soul laner, so if you want to play side lane, I think going Wit's End into like some sort of additional MR item and just playing side is pretty effective, because I do kind of like that 4-man squad a little bit more from 100 Thieves.
All right, Ssumday's going back up the top side. He'll be dealing with that. FBI continues clearing out some vision. No kills, 20 minutes in. I need to see some violence. Ssumday flashes away from the ulti of Philip, and now he's ready to continue the fight, going for the Mega Gnar into the wall, trying to put the whooping on Sejuani. As JoseDeodo shows up, this is not a good spot for Ssumday. First blood over to FlyQuest.
No, toucouille gets caught.
Yeah, Abbeddage going in, looking for the FlyQuest mid laner where the fight breaks out mid lane now with Johnsun and FBI going head-to-head. FBI barely staying alive through the boomerangs. FlyQuest is out fighting them all over the place. toucouille jumps back over the wall. Abbeddage still looking for a chance, but he's got nothing. Johnsun takes him down.
Kobe, where are you? We're letting him down. 100 Thieves.
I jinxed it.
They're getting wiped here by FlyQuest. Now 3.3k up. 20 minutes, no first blood. They get kills on 2 sides of the map. They're going to take the mid lane tier 2 as well. 4.2k in the lead now. toucouille even going to get bot. They're going to go to like 5k out of nowhere. 100 Thieves falling way down. And that is the kind of individual advantage that they need to really make this comp work. Look at Johnsun. The man is fed. He is 1,700, 1,800 up.
Holy moly, man. 100 Thieves are hurting here in this one. Johnsun Sivir, the damage that he's putting down, toucouille being strong enough now to make these LeBlanc flanks really hurt. Let's take another look at what happened top as Philip got the better of Ssumday early.
I mean, Jose coming up here is really the difference maker. Ssumday liked his chances, though. Felt like as long as he's able to actually avoid that, he'll be able to take him down. The Triforce in these long extended fights is really, really valuable because you do have all of that attack speed, but Jose comes in, makes a difference. To be honest, I don't know that he was going to win that. Even in the 1v1, it looked like Philip might have had the best of him with the late ignite. Then in mid lane, Closer going in here, not able to actually catch up to Johnsun whatsoever. Johnsun getting aggressive, flashing forward, and then Abbeddage on the side. toucouille comes over, finds the angle around the Wolves to connect the chain, and notice how he was standing against the wall, so even if Abba went over the wall, the chain is still going to proc, and you are still going to die. Johnsun is threatening here again now.
100 Thieves falling back. Yeah, they get the teleport out of Ssumday. He shows up mid. 100 Thieves are on the back foot, and they know it. FlyQuest taking control of the game. Their ownership of the early objectives also going to feel great for them. Those Rift Heralds building up this gold lead. They're 1-1 on the Drakes. They can keep playing for those and stacking those together. And hey, you mentioned how Earth Drakes feel really bad for LeBlanc to play into.
Yeah.
You don't have to play into them if your opponents never get them.
True. There you go. It's going to be really
strategy.
And if you're looking for those quick trades, Mountain Soul Shield, really, really nice to jump in with that Mountain Soul Shield, be able to get that damage down, block a lot of the return damage that is coming across. That can really start to push things in your favor more and more. FlyQuest looking great. Huhi and Closer trying to move up here towards that top side. See if toucouille was overextending, but he is not. No. And instead, they're actually just pushing on the other side of the map. Again, they're looking for that cross-map play, pushing in bot here, establishing vision control. There's no wards in this section. This whole area is all FlyQuest, so they're going to be able to grab that no problem. And there's not much of a threat right now of the Baron being taken down. Honestly, it is something that FlyQuest will have to watch out for later, though.
Awesome mid-game coming out here from FlyQuest for what we've got so far. There's another Drake in their pocket. That one's going to go over to Jose, picking it up for him. toucouille just continues farming. Void Staff's second item. He does not want them to be able to build any sort of MR, whether it's a Wit's End on the split push Gnar, whether it's just more tank items on the Trundle, plus the extra MR he's going to have from Subjugate naturally. They want to make sure LeBlanc is a threat to anyone and everyone.
Yep, absolutely. And being able to actually grab up, that Mountain Dragon is also really, really effective for the Sejuani, right? It looks like it's a good 20 MR or something like that he got, as well as 20, 30 armor. So quite a significant amount, being actually amplified there because he does get that percentage increase. I think it also affects his passive. So pre-passive, it's going to be even more powerful. But of course, Closer will be looking to steal away those stats.
That's what they got to watch out for. Trundle sapping Sejuani's defenses, making it more difficult for Philip to front line. But FlyQuest need to keep going with this lead. You've got a 5,000 gold lead. It's 23 minutes into the game. That is very, very scary. If we get to a 45-minute game state and it's still a 5,000 gold lead, well, that doesn't mean as much anymore.
Yeah, you start to really get worried about what Azir can do in those later stage games as well. Abbeddage has really taken over in a couple of the Azir games, had some of his best performances on it this champion.
We remember 100 Thieves versus Evil Geniuses. Abbeddage, a quadra kill on the top side of the jungle, the bailout from the Renata from Huhi, making it so he could get that quadra kill and stay alive. It's like, this guy is very scary on this champion. They do not want to allow him the chance to claw back into this game.
And he's going for, a very kind of late game style build. It's Deathcap second, right? He's just been chilling farming. He's not going defensive. He is going for a max DPS build. This is not like Banshee Zonias like what we saw from JoJo. This is really looking to max out in the damage here. Really set himself up for that late game. When you hit 3 items and you've gone Deathcap, you are really going to ramp up, but he has to be a bit careful here of toucouille, who is on 2 items of his own and looking to hunt.
Jumps in, bops him for 60% of his health, but now toucouille's got to be careful. He flashes away, slow from the Zeri laser, but toucouille is safe. Manages to disengage from 100 Thieves there. Also want to point out 100 Thieves building the items that we were kind of calling out and expecting them to. Wit's End second on the Gnar. Closer building more armor specifically because he knows LeBlanc doesn't want to try to assassinate a Trundle that's honestly still going to have a ton of MR just from subjugating Sejuani.
Yeah, and it wasn't actually the Mikhail's rush. He's just going Shirelia's. I think the answer was just go cleanse on FBI, and then you don't need to go for the Mikhail's. On the Yuumi. Will be interesting to see if he actually decides to go for that second, though, because it still can be very valuable for someone like if Abbeddage or Ssumday or whoever does get caught up with that. It is a very easy answer to that Sejuani ult. Abbeddage now looking to hunt for toucouille here, who is getting pretty low. Remember, it has no flash, so has to play it somewhat defensively as he has been chipped down. This battle really is about the poke on that top side. You know, it's not like he's so fed that he can just 100 to 0 the Azir. So it is about these back and forth trades until one person gets the other low enough that they can threaten to kill, and then that gains them priority in the lane, which allows them to push it out.
Well, Sivir just acquired Infinity Edge. We got the notification on the screen a few seconds ago. Johnsun is at the 3-item hyper carry power spike, right? This is where I really want to see FlyQuest look to make some big moves. Look to force him to come respond to you at a Baron or something like that. But do it in a way that's not risky, because objective bounties are up, and that is one of the ways that a game can fall away from you.
And there's a couple bounties here, even just to grab off the champions. Johnsun has a 400 gold bounty, I assume just from like farm. You know, he has the 1 kill. But he has 305 CS at 26.5.
These Sivirs are farming like crazy.
Yeah, they just hoover up all the CS. You can see on the 100 Thieves side, it's Closer that's kind of giving up his farm, right? Like he's down quite a bit of farm. And that's going in the pockets of FBI as well as Abbeddage. But Viego has a lot of farm, and all the laners have a ton as well. You know, toucouille is over 10 CS per minute. Johnsun is at like 12, so it is pretty impressive how much farm they're finding on the map, how efficient they are being with it. Philip now in a position to potentially flank, but will be pushed out by Ssumday.
Yeah, he knows that he can't survive against all 500 Thieves players right there with his team not right on top of him too. So he just Arctic Assaults back over the wall.
They're trying to threaten Baron for a Dragon trade, but I feel like that doesn't usually work out. Like these days, I can't even remember the last time I saw this work out when the team goes to Baron. Because honestly, what every single team does is just send one person to solo the Dragon, and then everyone else goes and answers the Baron.
Well, Philip goes over the wall. They're going in. They're looking for Abbeddage, but they won't be able to find him. Closer has to flash away. Philip's going to be taken low. Wild Growth keeps him alive. They're still looking to fight, and they grab the first kill on the enemy top laner. FBI gets paid, and FlyQuest may have made a mistake. 100 Thieves, they get 1 for nothing, and they're heading back down to the Dragon.
Yeah, Philip finds the angle to actually land the ulti on Abbeddage, but they cannot burst him down. And without him falling, they're able to pull back. There's no shot that they're going to be able to make that Baron happen, I don't think. toucouille and Aphro are going to try to zone, but they are going to have to get off that. You don't kill that nearly fast enough. So they lose the kill. They do lose the Dragon here as well. And it is that flat armor NMR going the way here of 100 Thieves. That is a very big deal against this LeBlanc, who is so reliant on the burst. But we can watch this one more time. The initial engage, very, very good. Find the angle onto the Azir. Remember, he doesn't have cleanse, so they want to try to go for that. But the follow-up is too slow. toucouille cannot get in. And this is the problem now. You're outranged. Look at Johnsun here. How hard it is as the Sivir to walk through those Azir soldiers. The Azir soldiers get placed like that, and you can't even auto-attack, right? The Zeri as well outranges you heavily, especially once you start getting those stacks up. You get lethal tempo up. So it is very difficult for Johnsun, even though he is very fed, to be able to fight into the Azir and into the Zeri, and that's kind of my concern for this comp as the game gets longer. So, you know, going back to what you were talking about earlier, they do need to continue pushing the pace of the game and make the most of this lead now, because it is frightening as a Sivir to try to step forward and auto-attack against a 3-item Azir.
Much heavier damage build for FBI's Zeri compared to Danny's from last game, too, as Abbeddage face checks, and he may just die. Oh, not quite. He's still burning.
Okay.
Red Smite nerf. He's pretty happy for that Red Smite nerf.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get it. And on the bottom side, Ssumday takes down a tower. They will lose their top tier 2. They did get an objective bounty for that, though, so it's not an even trade. You know, 100 Thieves going to be able to claw back some more gold. Looks like it's in towards armor now for Ssumday, knowing he's got to pay some respect to the Sivir, who can be such a menace in the team fights. You know, even just with those boomerang blades, as well as kind of the bounces on the auto attacks, really does scale up towards those late game and can start to kind of AoE down the whole team. If you have no armor, you are really at threat.
And I like what you talk about with the Sivir not being able to move in past the Azir soldiers, because the shorter range a champion is, the more powerful zone control is as a tool against them, right? And when we look at all these champions, Sivir is a very short range AD carry. LeBlanc is a mage that must jump in to attack you. Viego is a melee fighter. Philip on a melee tank. Like, all of these are short range, and Abbeddage, now with a 3rd completed item, a Banshee's Veil, not that pure glass cannon like the Hat second is going to lead you to believe, instead itemizing a little bit more defensively now, and that's also such a pain in the butt for LeBlanc.
Yeah, absolutely. It does become very, very difficult to deal with. And Azir on 3 items, it's very similar to how it kind of works. I always feel like with these Infinity Edge marksmen, that is really where you kind of come online and start becoming such a difficult champion to deal with. They're trying to look for another engage, though.
They can't find Abbedage, but Closer eats a ton of damage instead. FBI and the rest of 100 Thieves are able to stay alive as Ssumday walks over. So 100 Thieves survived the attempted playmaking from FlyQuest. They spent the Sivir ulti on that.
Oh, and they find a nice ulti.
Nice grab, Abbedage. He just dies at the very start. That's not what 100 Thieves wanted. But FlyQuest get a critical kill. Now with the enemy mid laner down, if they pick up Closer, oh, baby, it smells like a Baron. Or do they even need it? FlyQuest marching down mid lane.
Yeah, they're pushing down mid. Would they try to go for more than the inhib here? They are basing. I think they're going to TP. They might actually try to look for the end. I think they're going to go for it. They're positioning to try to end the game here. The teleport coming in. Might need to just save that for one of the minions because FBI could potentially clear this out.
FlyQuest is ready to go. FBI is going to have a hero Zeri moment here. He's down to 25%. He flashes away. Ssumday into the stopwatch, keeping himself alive. Philip's going to die. FlyQuest, they get inhibitor and they get one Nexus turret, but 100 Thieves stops them.
Yeah, I think they needed to save that teleport onto one of the minions because the minions got cleared out there. He TP'd too early, so once you're at the Nexus Towers, if he TP'd onto a minion to give that immunity, might be able to hang around a little bit longer. They try to go for that ballsy call. They know the scaling may be in the favor of 100 Thieves, so they try to look to end it. They can't quite do it. But credit to Philip, man. He's been on point with these Sejuani ults. Like, he is the solo engage, and he's found Abbedage multiple times in a row. This time they actually did find the CC chain, as I think it was Aphro gets up there with the polymorph. But now, 100 Thieves are going to look for a counter Baron because there's no TP on Philip, and he's down for 15. But toucouille
getting good damage on Closer, but not good enough to take him down. 100 Thieves with control of the Baron.
No sums.
Baron at half HP. toucouille now zoned away. JoseDeodo looking for a chance to maybe go in.
Soldiers right here.
They're not going to risk it. They're not going to risk it. They know that if they all int into 100 Thieves and die here, 100 Thieves might just win the game.
Absolutely. They couldn't get past that line of soldiers there. They don't have the range to fight through them. Can they actually get down and at least get the dragon? Because now it makes it so costly. Like, yes, they got an inhib. Yes, they did get that Nexus Tower, so they get some more gold, but 100 Thieves take down the Baron. It's getting later and later in the game. This is going to buy them a lot of time, and if 100 Thieves also get this next dragon, that puts them at soul point here. FlyQuest is in a really tough spot. I mean, they committed TP to try to end. They could have taken the Baron for free and just kind of incrementally increased their advantage. They tried to go for the throat, and now toucouille chunked out. He has no TP. This is 100 Thieves Dragon, so they're on soul point. They've got double mountain against LeBlanc. This is getting really dicey now.
And I mean, mid lane inhibitor is the least valuable inhibitor to take anyway. Everybody's already shoving it out, especially against a champion like Azir. The super minion doesn't even take him longer than 2 seconds to kill it, right? So this is just extra farm flowing into them. I feel like I've got to agree with you here. The choice to go for the end without having to teleport on top of the Nexus turrets, without being able to finish, may just be what comes back to bite FlyQuest, as 100 Thieves still down 5,000 gold. Their Baron power plays at plus 1,200, so not super impressive considering the objective itself is worth 15. But, like you said, soul point means a lot. That guarantees us a team fight if we get 4.5 minutes further.
And the biggest thing, honestly, in my opinion, is just that there's nothing to fight for 5 minutes. So it's just 5 more minutes of 100 Thieves chilling and farming with Azir, right? Like, I think this benefits them really, really heavily. You know, the Sivir is obviously a great scaler, but we've seen it's very difficult for her to get in. So toucouille is playing a good game, and he's going to have to continue to do this. He's going to have to continue to get aggressive and get these chunks because they just can't take full HP, front-to-back team fights whatsoever against this squad. It's going to be very difficult to navigate. But without any way to make them come out of the base, vision control doesn't really matter, so they just sit mid, they farm up all the supers, they continue to scale up. IE is now done for FBI, so he's on 4 items. You can see Abbedage is working on his 4th as well. I mean, Johnsun is super, super strong, but it's very difficult to fight past those Azir soldiers. And honestly, even just navigating the Trundle pillar can be really, really annoying. Like, if you try to go past it and just get Trundle pillared in with the soldiers hitting you, you're toast.
Well, we have Guardian Angel for JoseDeodo, so that will give him the chance to jump in more recklessly into the fight, try to get that damage down that they need. But really, my eyes are on Philip again. It's got to be another big Sejuani
But
catch.
Who can get the Banshees off? There's Cleanse on Zeri and there's Banshees on Abbedage. So if you can't poke off the Banshees, you can't even try to engage, right? So it has to be toucouille goes in, knocks off the Banshees, then during that window, you find a Sejuani ult, and you lock him down 100-0 and kill him. Like, that's your way to do it.
It's tough.
Which starts feeling like a really narrow win condition because Sejuani ult on anyone else actually doesn't matter.
Remember what I was talking about around 23 minutes when I said 5,000 gold lead looks good now, but later on it won't look as good?
And Mikhail's is coming as well. Mikhail's is going to be the second item for Huhi. I think it's super smart because then even if Banshees is off, even if it hits someone else, he's got to be closing in on that pretty soon. Yuumi, even if you want to give gold to it, it's pretty hard to give gold to Yuumi.
Yeah.
Not the best last hitter. But if you give a little bit of gold to get that Mikhail's, it's actually a pretty important buy.
2.5 minutes to get there. 4,000 gold lead for FlyQuest, 1 Drake lead for 100 Thieves. These super carries in Azir and Zeri are both looking really strong. You can see Abeddage working towards that 4th big completed item, blasting one in the inventory for him. Stopwatch up for Johnsun. So if he can try to get in there and just lay down the DPS nice and early, he can try to survive the soldiers after, maybe, but man, it's hard.
And he has Bloodthirster, so that's something working for him. And there's no healing debuff really on the other side, besides the Ignite from Yuumi, but like, who cares? That's not going to be on you.
Mikhail's done.
Mikhail's done, and QSS done on someone who has Cleanse, and a Banshees, and a Stopwatch on the jungler, and then a tank top. Who do you ult, right? Like,
it's just so hard.
It's so hard. Like, you're now in one of these windows where you're like, okay, now you need to poke off the Banshees, ult him, get the Mikhail's, then before the Mikhail's is back up, do that again.
It's
right, like it's really, really, really hard. So 100 Thieves in a great position. That being said, hey, there's also the X factor of toucouille. If he can actually, like, really chunk someone down, he's got the right ricochets coming in from Sivir. You never know what could happen, but the angles are going to be few and far between. And 100 Thieves just has to play slow and steady, use the pillar to create space, use the pillar to deny FlyQuest from really being able to pile in, and then utilize the Zeri and the Azir's massive range advantage here over this 500 attack range Sivir.
Well, we've also got Rylai's Crystal Scepter done for Azir, so once the soldiers are on you, it is that much more difficult to get away. Drake now under 1 minute. This one has to be some kind of a fight. We've got FlyQuest in the bottom side river first. Mid laners squaring off here in this 1v1 top side as 100 Thieves. They might be looking for the Baron
potentially, and they're going to spawn around the same time. I think for sure FlyQuest has to fight for it, but 100 Thieves doesn't. Like, they could give it up and try to go for something else if they're just down to just continue scaling. I mean, they've played this game so slow, right? So like, they are happy to just wait for 6 items, I think. But it looks like everyone is here mid lane to skirmish.
Okay.
toucouille does have TP, and there are some good wards. He's TPing very deep here. He's going to actually go to threaten the base, I think. So he's going to try to play a little bit of shenanigans around that. Going to try to draw Ssumday back, but he is spotted on that pink ward now over by the blue buff. So they have eyes on him. Ssumday can push that out, and he still has his teleport available. Plus, there is a TP ward here over in this area, right behind that dragon. So he could try to prep the Narbar here and be ready to TP if they want to go for it.
toucouille making it look like he's seeking this poke more than anything, but JoseDeodo has already started up the Drake. He is soloing that one down for FlyQuest.
I think they're going to give it.
100 Thieves is nowhere in the neighborhood to stop this, so it looks like Jose just gets to kill that one by himself. He's got it down to about half. Remember, these are much tankier than they used to be, so it's going to take him a minute here. FlyQuest has to be careful. Why are we throwing out Sejuani ultis this early when Jose's not even here? 100 Thieves. Now they're into the Baron pit. FlyQuest doesn't have any way to get in just yet. JoseDeodo's making his way over. He gave up on the Drake. He didn't complete it. Abeddage getting jumped on. Half HP still left. toucouille over the wall. Philip gets the kill. Abeddage's down. And 100 Thieves have to fight the 4v5.
He got him.
FBI's gone. The carries are gone. 100 Thieves are gone. And FlyQuest, they found the window and kicked that mother in. Triple kill back over to Johnsun. Closer dies. GG. FlyQuest
have done it. They're going to take down 100 Thieves. Johnsun gets the quadra. Philip picks up number 5. They're going to march it down mid here and finish off the game. What a finish from FlyQuest.
We talked about how hard it would be to execute on that, but FlyQuest made the call. They give up the Drake. They find the Azir, and FlyQuest end 100 Thieves win streak.
Nice decisiveness there from FlyQuest, but it felt like such a strange force on the Baron from 100 Thieves. Abeddage goes over the wall. He's tanking the Baron, trying to start that up. Trying to force the hand, I think, of FlyQuest there, but FlyQuest wasn't even on soul point. Like, that would have just been one dragon. That wasn't going to be the end of the game there.
Yeah.
100 Thieves decide they're going to go for it anyway. FlyQuest say, great, we're going to be ready for it. Jose just drops the dragon, runs straight up. Toucouille has a perfect flanking angle, and Abbeddage, who had tanked up the Baron, was already softened up. Toucouille goes in, finishes them off there, be flashing in on him with that distortion as well. Gets him chunked low, and then as soon as Abbeddage was down, it's open season for Johnsun because that Azir is what was keeping the Sivir back. So Johnson's going in, he's flashing in, popping Ghost right on top of FBI, and they just knock down the Zeri, and that is it. That is the end of the game right there.
The Azir and Zeri being the first two to die, the rest of the comp is built around those being the cannons, right? You don't have the tool. You have a Yuumi, you have a Trundle that has all of 2 items in a shoe, and then you have Gnar, who's not a 1v5 champion. He can't pull that off on his own.
Absolutely. You know, no chance for Gnar to really kind of make that fight happen at the end. And it was such a slow, methodical, patient game, it felt like.
Yes.
So it was surprising to see, 100 Thieves just risk it all in that moment to try to really hard force that Baron to the point where no one's even tanking the Baron for Abbeddage. He's literally just eating into the pit, tanking the Baron. And, you know, it ends up biting them. And that's sometimes one of those things in these late game situations, the pressure can start to get to players a little bit. You start to feel like, we got to do something. They're getting the dragon for free. We can't let this happen. But, you know, FlyQuest is ready. They are there with the response and they punish them. And FlyQuest turns in a really good game. And just like you were talking about, you know, Kobe was really talking about all the praise that 100 Thieves deserve. A lot of people have been talking about that. That was their 7-game win streak that just got cut short by FlyQuest. So it was feeling like all the hype was at an all-time high for 100 Thieves now. You know, people are really getting excited about them, about the form that they were in. And then they have this game, and, you know, it's a little bit of a deflating feeling, I think.
Brings it back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, and it also brings FlyQuest back into the conversation of like, you know, how good is this team? Because they are so up and down where they have these incredible games where they take down the top teams, but then they aren't always able to kind of replicate that same level of performance, you know, week in, week out.
And hey, hats off to Philip. This is the new guy on the squad.
Yeah.
This is the dude who they bring in saying he's a great culture fit. We know he's got some leveling up to do, but we think he can get there. Those Sejuani ults in the early mid game, locking down the right targets, finding Abbeddage, that's what gave FlyQuest the gold lead that allowed them to be able to win a game that their opponents were hard outscaling in. Right?
Absolutely.
Like, that was awesome. Before we go